I from time to time I like to kind of talk about what's popping in the as far as like the TV and I spend a lot of time watching TV and watching like automotive based series, channels, docu series, just because usually I'm in the garage and I want to put something on and I want it to be like minded to what I'm working on in the garage, and, and something kind of came up as of late. Maybe you've already heard about it, but there is a new docu series. It's actually a six-part docu series that's going to be featured here through Hulu. It's actually a father and son duo. The father is, of course, Swizz Beatz. If you are unfamiliar with Mr. Swizz Beatz, he's best known as a producer in the hip hop world, legendary hip hop producer, actually. And he's worked with the kind of Jay Z, Beyonce, Drake, if I'm going off of memory here.
Hmm.
And he's actually doing this particular docu series with his son, Nazir Dean. And what they hope to do is actually they're going to be shedding light on everything that's kind of happening, not within their local community, but actually it's happening within the automotive community across the world. So they're going to be traveling from everywhere from Houston to Japan to Saudi Arabia to explore the world of car culture in those particular areas. And it's crazy. And you're like, okay, well, this is just another docu series, and there's tons of those that are available through Motor Trend and everything else that's happening right now. But the reason why I wanted to shed some light to it, because these guys actually, especially Swiss Beats, he actually started life off as a Nissan enthusiast, a Z32 enthusiast, to be exact. He was actually a TT Z32 guy for a really long time. So,
Wow.
is one of his passions. I'm still in his stable, from what I understand. But so I'm hoping that there's some Nissan love when he hits Japan. Now, so far, the series that's available through Hulu has only dropped the one episode so far. I haven't checked it out. I'm actually that is my Turkey Day um, film festival. Actually, when I'm done
Yeah.
with the show, I'll be watching it here tonight. But yeah, it actually I'm not a Hulu subscriber yet, but it's Black Friday. They already got
Oh.
potentially something that's Nissan related. You got me, Hulu. That's it. I'm in. So I'll be checking out those deals here in the next day. But yeah, have you had an opportunity to kind of watch the trailer yet?
Myself, I have seen some, yes. So that's where I saw the cameo with the Z32. That's kind of what caught. That's what might cause my ears to perk up and see what's this about. What's going on here? So um, it looks interesting. I think I'll be doing something similar where over the next week, I just do a binge watch of these 6 episodes. And it's fun because you mentioned Houston. I'm familiar with Houston car culture. We always see, we hear a lot about it, especially um,
It's in our
being
backyard. I
the,
mean,
the
we dip our toes into Houston from time to time
well.
since it's one of our sister cities.
Mhm.
But yeah, they definitely have their own car culture and sometimes counter car culture that just kind of breaks the molds. I'm not going to get into who started what, but Houston's usually at the forefront, if not the originators of some of these trends that are kind of coming up in the
Yes, yeah.
automotive world.
Talking about
So
donks and a bunch of other
yeah, I
ones.
didn't want to get into it, but it, because but
Well,
it's true. It's like
that's what the
it's one of
episode's
those
about, right?
things.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's all about that. I mean, that's how lowrider culture started off. It was just it was um it was hot rodders. And I'm gonna nerd out here. For those that don't know how lowrider culture started, it actually started off as hot rodding culture. And what these guys wanted to do was basically like low and fast, and then eventually it became just of these rolling art projects that were hot rod cars. And then so they kind of had to come up with these ways of staying legal because the police were giving them crap. So they came up with a hydraulic system that would basically allow them to raise the car when the cops pulled them over.
Mm.
So they would then be legal to drive on the streets. And that's the need. Necessity was the mother of invention when it came to lowriders. For those that don't know, they were all, that's how it began. So drop a little knowledge on you. So
Interesting. I didn't know that. Hmm.
it's true. So, anyways, but yeah, that's what's kind of happening that I would suggest you kind of check out, if you will. Now, I am going to give it another little bomb here for
Hmm.
those that haven't checked it out. I'm always a big, huge fan of everything that kind of happens within the tuna world because I have always felt and I've always been a big proponent of the tuna world was never got its due justice, and the light that we did get was usually light that the light we didn't want, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I hate to say it. Now, the guys, some of the folks who were at the forefront was, of course, Super Street. They were one of the magazines that I've kind of fell in love with early on, along with like Sport Compact Car, which unfortunately is no longer available anymore. Turbo Magazine. Those were like my three go-to. I'll give a shout out to Project Car Magazine. That's Project Car magazine was like my favorite. It was had a short run, only about I think it's only one volume if you want to call it that. But yeah, Super Street was always where the party was at, and it took them a while to come from Honda boys into Datsun and Nissan appreciation, but it was always kind of there in a sense,
Hmm.
I always have a magazine that I can kind of go. It's crazy. Like I can reach anywhere here, and I can pull out a Super Street article, magazine, and Super Street is all. Oh, that's the. Anyway, no, that's a good article too. But yeah, that's something else. But Super Street.
That's the
Yeah,
one. That's the
yeah,
yeah.
Super Street. But like I said, I can always pick out one of these because the articles were well written, photography was great. But I love the fact now, and what am I ranting and talking about is the fact that we finally have tuner recognition on Motor Trend, which was a hugely domestic dominated piece of publication. Especially you would go through Motor Trend early on before it was bought out, and it was just other than JDM Legends and a few other spots, that was it. You got
Yeah.
nothing. So I like to see that Motor Trend is finally making the import world available to us, and listening to what we're wanting as consumers. So Super Street Garage has actually just come out. They're finishing up their final season as of late. They're dropping most of their stuff on Fridays. I
Hmm.
believe they have one more, and then that'll be the season finale.
Mm.
And then you've got shows also like Runs Good to not give them to not take away from them. Also another import heavy show that I personally enjoy. And the other thing too is they bought all the old um, Nopi Nationals. Remember those Nopi TV,
Yeah.
which is old school. If you don't know, you can go back and watch it. But they have like the old Nopi tuner vision. I think there's a lot of words I'm going to throw out here
Mm.
because there was a lot of stuff going out and being tried out at the time. Nopi TV, Nopi Nationals coverage, Modified, which was a magazine that I don't think they're out around anymore. Modified tried their hand at a series, and it was good. It just the coverage wasn't the greatest. They didn't have the best. They could have had better co-hosts. They could have had better coverage. And I feel like this new show is. I'll put it like this: you remember watching like tuner shows? You watch something, and it was just like, and guys were just they weren't mature as of like they didn't have the appreciation piece of it. It was mostly just like hanging out at drift events, and there's nothing wrong with that stuff. But it was
Hmm.
just it kind of felt the same and
Mm.
repetitive. What I
Yeah.
really like about this show is they kind of nerd out on the same things that we nerd out, like
Mm.
the rarity of JDM parts and the scarcity of models available and the rationale why this particular car is cool versus this car, and then just straight horsepower because it's horsepower. We got to do it for it. And
Oh,
that's why
nice.
I like this show because it kind of does that. It takes the moment to sprinkle that appreciation when it's doing the show. Like they're like, and I did want to give a shout out to the most recent one, which is what's behind me. So
Mm.
they actually fixed up a Datsun 510 wagon, and during the show, they're talking about all the importance of patina. Why you don't want to start gold chasing. Restoring the cars. Yeah, of course you can, but the importance of like chasing the right wheel piece that's period correct.
Hmm.
I mean, the why you don't want to start changing out lights to this or why you want to do this particular item. I really like that, and to me, it's like I'm always having to explain this to, like, say, younger people that are getting into this world, like, why that and why this, and they ask you, and they'll just kind of poke you with questions, and I always feel like I can keep explaining it, but there needs to be something out there to explain the importance, and people don't necessarily read anymore.
Yeah.
Sad to say, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really wanted an education, you'd go back and read. I mean, and it really is. I mean, that's how we started our life off. We started off life living through magazine articles and forums, and so it was a lot of reading. And what else did we have at our disposal? It was magazines, you know,
Magazines, forums. Yeah.
VHS,
Yeah.
DVDs. I mean, if we were lucky, I mean, that stuff wasn't available for us as tuner
This
aficionados.
is the
We just,
pre YouTube world. Yeah, man.
yeah,
It was hard
that
to
was it.
find.
It was hard to find. We had to figure it out on our own. But there was definitely that love that was across it. And I kind of feel like it kind of comes through with that. So that was my whole point about the Super Street episode. And to make sure that you're giving the appreciation where it needs to be. Again, you can check these guys out through Motor Trend. It is Thanksgiving and there is Black Friday deals. I'm not
Mm.
going to take away from everything we're going to cover here a little bit later.
Yeah.
But for those that don't know, you can check out Motor Trend, and they give you the TV through Prime, so you can get it on your app, and then
Mm.
you also can check out all the old um, uh, articles as well. So if you want to go on and check out Super Street magazine,
Oh.
you get it all the vintage articles on through the app, which
Oh, wow.
is like legendary. Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's
You
so
still
cool.
all the old stuff like Drift This,
Yeah.
that's all in there too as well. I mean, the amount of stuff that they bought up that's historic and
Mhm.
in the vault, if you will, is amazing. You just go searching. They're like
Mhm.
tuner options, and there's quite a bit of stuff there.